Okay. For those of you who are seeing this on recording, good evening, hope you're well. Any questions, just let me know, and we'll make a start. So if you want to, hopefully you've got your everything rolled out. Thank you. Thank you. If you have got band with you, please do get that out, and we'll have a little go with that later. If you have got a block with you, grab it. If not, maybe a book, that will do the same sort of thing. Now, first of all, we're going to start by sitting on the blocks if you have a block. If you don't, as I said, a sort of fairly thick book might do the trick that you're happy to actually plonk yourself down on. It's not going to get damaged. So we're going to make a start on top of the blocks. Now, what this actually does is it props you up a little bit further. So you can, your posture can be a little bit more correct, which is definitely no bad thing. All this week so far, I've had very large amounts of people with really sore hips, backaches, mainly caused by, obviously not necessarily sitting in the right place, but actually stress. A lot of, I know you've heard me say this before, but a lot of stress is actually held in your hips. And I want to do some really relatively strong hip work today to try and relax that out. It's not exactly the easiest, but actually it really, really does help if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so stressed and everything hurts. Then we'll stretch that out and just make sure that you're feeling less stressed. So if you have got something to sit on, we're going to just start by just making sure that your posture is nice and upright. Now, as I also say, if you want to just make sure that your feet aren't overlapping, it just ensures that your knees can come down a little bit further. So we'll just start by making sure that you're comfortable. And then if you can think in your head, and you close your eyes and picture this if you want to, but I'm behind you and I'm just correcting your posture. So if you are like this a little bit, I've done that for you. Okay, so just push your back in a little bit and then hold your shoulders back a little bit. Okay, now what I want you to think is, okay, so Rebecca is behind me in a nice way, not in a scary way, like, oh my God, she's behind me. Aren't you in the gym? And pushing down on your shoulders very slightly. Okay, I'm just going to demo that because I have a beautiful assistant here. So if you close, once you've seen this, if you close your eyes and just think, right, okay, that's what we're doing. So I've corrected your back slightly, and then we're going to just push down on your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. That's it. Good. So thinking in your head, there's a little bit of pressure on my shoulders will actually really, really help in just pushing those down a bit, and a bit of assistance in making sure that they feel nice and relaxed. So once we're down here, so hands in your lap, once we're down here, we're going to take 3 nice deep breaths. That's it. So you should be feeling posturally nice, but actually relatively correct as well, and relaxed. We're going to take one leg and you're going to put it out to the side. Okay, so if you are on your block or your book, your other foot should be fairly close in by, and your legs should be relatively straight. If that is hugely uncomfortable because your hamstring is so tight at the back, then obviously just bend it slightly or just bring it in slightly. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem as to who is online at the moment to do that. I want you to concentrate on this knee for a second because it may well have just risen up. So if you either consciously push it down or think, right, I've got to bring my leg back down. So try and keep that one nice and relaxed and keep this one nice and straight. Think about that when we're doing this move as well, because it can creep up. So we're going to turn towards the leg that is long. Turn your trunk towards the leg that's long. And then you're going to very slowly creep your way down. Now, what you'll find when you're on the block is it sort of pushes you forward slightly. That should intensify the stretch very slightly. And hopefully what you'll find is that knee still remains down. nice and relaxed. Drop your head wherever you are, and where you should feel there's a really nice strong stretch right at the back, hamstrings, a little bit in your back as well, because it's leaning over. That's it, nice and gently going to roll that back up. That's it. Okay, give your leg a jig. Now we're going to try the other way. So this is, it feels quite different. So leave the long leg out there, and then you're going to turn towards the knee that's bent, and you're going to come down. Now what can happen is you fall off. So try and keep your bum cheeks on the floor or the block. And you're going to try and bring your chest towards your knee, but it probably won't go unless you do that. And I'm trying for you to keep this down. That's it. Try and relax. Now this is quite strong down here as well. And nice and slowly roll yourself back up. Now the last way that we can go is in the middle. Not so easy because again you're going to fall. So try and keep everything down as much as possible. Creep it forwards, and if you're getting any pinching at the back of your leg, don't go down so low, okay? If it's aggravating your knee, bend it slightly. Just bend it very slightly. Good. Okay, roll that lock all the way up. Now, bring that leg crossed again. And then when we do the moving your body forwards, your hips should be really stretched out. Now, this is subject to flexibility, so don't worry about how low I'm going, worry about how low you can go based on your own flexibility. We're not going to worry too much about arms being right out. Just drop those knees. Nice and slowly roll that up. Oh, very good. Right, when you're ready, we're going to reposition ourselves and bring the other leg out. So I'm doing exactly the same thing the other side. Please just bear in mind, if you have got aggravated knee, if it stays in for too long, it might just start to get annoyed. So if you feel like your knee is getting annoyed and or anything is cramping at all, just stop, wriggle it out, and then come back to the position that we're in. So should get a little bit of a sort of half straddle going on here. Then we're going to turn towards your long leg first. And we're going to work our way slowly down there. Please bear in mind that one side is unlikely to feel exactly the same. This is definitely my worst side. Oh my God. Now, once you're down here, I want you to relax that quad, which is the front muscle here. It's a big front muscle. It might get a bit like, just try really hard to relax it down. It's not that one that we're stretching at the moment. And once you're down here, this is supposed to stretch the back of your leg, and you'll feel it around the back here as well. Good. And nice and slowly bring yourself up out of that. And once you're up to the top, subject to nothing getting pins and needles or cramping, then we're going to come to the opposite side. So this is where your knee is bent, and we're going to come down. Now feel that stretch right down the back of the other hamstring very, very quickly, this one. Again, try really hard to ensure that your bum doesn't lift off. That's it. Super slowly roll it back up when you're ready. And then we're going to turn to the front, so halfway in between, and bring it down. And remember, try not to lift. You're just coming down wherever's comfortable enough for you for a stretch. That should be really quite strong down the back of your leg. That's it. Nice and slowly roll that back up. Wonderful. Before you bring that leg in, just give it a little jig. Make sure it's still alive. Now, once you've crossed your legs, it may be very likely that you've got the opposite leg. So my natural is that one. Done on purpose, I want you to bring the other one in. So when you come down again, it's the other side that's getting more of a stretch on your hips. So you're going to come forwards. And this side, for me, my left, is a lot tighter. So you can see that's on the floor, that's not on the floor. So definitely get a chance to swap to the other side. Bring your head down, no matter where you are. Sink down and hold it here. That's it, nice. And slowly roll it up. And you're ready? Okay, bring both legs out to the front. You're still sat on your block, and just give your legs a little wriggle. And then give your toes a little wriggle. And then give your ankles a little wriggle. Good. Okay, one final fold before we're moving on to something different. Upright again. So remember, I'm behind you, just pushing you upright. Arms up. Take a deep breath in. And then you're going to fold forwards and flex your feet if you are able to. And take your toes if you're able to. And then we're sinking down. If you have got hold of your toes, I want you to push them forward slightly. And that elongates the stretch. And you feel that around your shoulder blades if you have got hold of your toes. That's really quite nice. It's quite a strong one, that one. Good. Okay, let's roll ourselves all the way up. Arms beside you if you can, and then bring it down. That's it. Lovely. Right, so the back of your leg should be like, okay, I think we're okay now. Give yourself a little dig. I want you to come off of the blocks, and we're going to do some more hip work. Now, some of this hip stuff can be quite strong, especially if you have got a lot of stress there. So do what you can, and if anything sort of aggravates, obviously you need to bring it back to the one that we were doing before. So we're going to start in a butterfly position, which is this, and your choice on how far in you want your feet. Okay, so right out here is not quite so bad. Right in, it should be a little bit harder. I am very rarely asking anyone to bounce, but this is quite an occasion where you can do a little bounce. Most of the time you are stretching tendons too far, but this is actually a safe one. This can be very cathartic if you are really, really, really stressed right at the end of the day and you're like, I need to calm down. There's a few stretches that we do, child's pose being one of them, but this is quite a good one. If you just think, oh my God, just sit here and do this, and you'll suddenly go, oh, okay, the world's not so horrific. I mean, it doesn't take long for it to come back again, but you know, for a few minutes you can be like, oh, that's quite nice actually. Okay, so just slow the bouncing and stop. Now, I want you to take hold of your ankles. So ideally, if they are a little bit closer now, and then you're going to bring your elbows out and just bring a little bit of pressure to your knees. If your knees are very, very aggravated today, don't put so much pressure in. It shouldn't aggravate your knees. It's more to stretch out your inner thighs here. Use your shoulders, drop your head. That's it. Okay, and roll yourself out of that one. Now we're going to exaggerate that one a little bit. So if you come to the end of your mat, just making sure that you've got some space behind you, that you're still in your butterfly position. Then we're going to roll down onto the floor on this. Now this isn't exactly the easiest one to roll down on. Just be aware of your hips, they might click. Clicking is fine, hurting is quite another. So we'll just try and roll back Mine are quite clicky when I do this, but once you're down the bottom, if you want to use your block and put it behind your head, by all means. We might have to move it again in a bit, but now gravity is brilliant on this one. However, it is quite strong. So first of all, it's very likely that the back will really arch on this. So just try and tuck your pelvis under very, very slightly and just keep your back relatively flat. There'll always be a little arch, but if this is too strong and you go, oh my God, I want you to make a fist both sides and then just tuck those fists underneath right by your hips. And what that does is it takes some pressure off. And depending on which way you turn your fists, then it will take a bit more pressure off. So if that is just too strong, gravity is just hurting, and then just make those fists. But if you're okay, then just leave it and let it do its thing. Now, we're going to just spend just a minute here just trying to relax this out, because this is probably the strongest way of doing this. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. That's it. Right, to get yourself out of this, don't just close your legs. I want you to use your hands and nice and gently, because if not, you can pinch your groin a bit. So get yourself out of the butterfly. And then once your legs are together, then just bring them in. Just use your core very slightly and bring this in. And then we're just going to do little tiny circles. And then the other way. Right. Now, we've done this move, I think, once before, and this is called a baby. It is quite strong for most things, to be quite honest. It's also the hamstrings and your hips in particular. But you have just rolled out your hamstrings and your hips shouldn't be feeling too bad now. So we'll go into this position, but it isn't exactly the easiest one. I'm just going to turn very slightly so both parties can see better. So the first things first is to keep your knees up and then split them out. Take hold of your knees and then just bring them towards you. This is not exactly the most attractive of positions, this one. I'm just very glad it's Scott and I and you guys online, because this is lovely. After wireless logic, we'll walk in a minute. Just if you are in this position, I want you to relax your head. Just try and relax absolutely everything down. So your back should be nice and flat to the floor, and you're using some pressure from your hands just to bring your knees down, as well as gravity. If you also need the loo, this isn't the best position, just warning you. It is conducive to aiding that if you need it. If you are a bit bunged up, it's quite a good one. Now, we're going to advance that. If that's enough and you're like, oh God, no, that's really strong, I think we're done, then please just stay here and just have some nice deep breaths. But if you want to, the way to advance that is just hold on to your toes. So the reason this is called a baby is because this is what babies do, and they sit there and think their toes are fascinating. So you're holding on, and I would get a little bit of grip on your toes if you can. If you haven't got any socks on, you can loop around your big toe, but however you hold on to it. Okay, and we're going to do little tiny rocks from one side to the other. So what you should feel is there's some pressure on your back because legs are heavy and they're putting pressure down, so it should feel quite nice on your back. You should feel your hip flexors, if you just stay where you are, Scott. You should feel your hip flexors here getting quite a stretch out. The back of your legs, yes, but we're going to expand that in a minute. Okay, right, this gets the back of your legs and your shoulders. If you are able to, we're going to straighten those legs, if you can, okay? I would stop the rocking because quite frankly, it's not exactly easy and you'll fall. If you can't straighten them entirely, just straighten them a bit more. Just hold yourself here. And then when you want to, you're just going to bring your legs down and bring yourself out of that. Some people like really love holding that position for ages. It's like, oh, that's lovely. Other people are like, oh my God, just for a second, I can't do that again. So bring yourself down when you're ready and your feet onto the floor. Right, so hips should be feeling pretty good now, okay, because we've done quite a lot of work to split those out. I want to do a couple more when we spin over. Back of your legs should be thinking, okay, we're good now. Back. So that's the other thing that's causing a hell of a lot of problems at the moment. So we're going to do our absolutely beautiful supine twists, but we are going to do the stronger version immediately. So I want you to put one leg over the other, cross your legs, hands out to the side for balance if you'd like to, and then you're going to just bring yourself across your body. That's it. Now, if you're lucky, you'll get a nice little click. Keep your shoulders on the floor. If you want to expand that very slightly, we're going to turn to the side. So look away from your knee. That's it. Okay. So whilst we're in this position, if you bring your head back to center, you can actually expand this as well. And again, if you're like, no, this is lovely, I'm good with this, thank you. If not, I want you to straighten your top leg. So you're going to unravel that and straighten your top leg, if you've got space, that is. Don't hit a sofa or someone else. So if you expand that, that gets quite a lot more of a stretch. That's it. Okay, slowly bring your foot back to your knee, and then you're going to use your muscles and bring yourself back up. Oh. Untangle yourself from that one, and we're going to cross our leg the other way, and you're going to bring the whole lot down. Coming across the other way. Let's try and relax your shoulders both on the floor. Nice deep breath in. Okay, and if you want to, we're extending that leg. Hold on to it if you're able to, and then continue with that stretch. That's it, lovely. And when you're ready, just bring that foot back and use your muscles and lift back up. Good. Oh, wonderful. Right, so your back should be thinking, okay, a little bit better now. So we are going to continue with the back, but I want to really start getting those obliques involved. So they're having to do some work. So we're going to actually take a deep breath in and put your hands down by your hip bones and take a deep breath in and engage your core. So what I mean by that is solid. Okay, so breathe in, breathe out, and just try and engage right down the bottom here. So it actually feels like it's doing something. It's pushing down, so your back should be flat on the floor. You should absolutely still be able to breathe, so don't hold your breath. And breathe in. And on the out breath, we're going to lift those legs. That's it. Okay, so they should be, your core should be engaged without having to do anything right now. And I want your knees fairly close into you. So your hands are coming out to the side again. It's more important they come out to the side on this one. And then we're going to fold over but not actually touch the floor. So you're going to hover just above the floor. Feel that having to do something. You're holding it. Deep breath in. And then use your obliques entirely to get yourself up. Your hands are just stabilizing you. You bring yourself up to center. Good. Just relax down. Okay, deep breath in. Other side. Bring it down, keeping your knees relatively close to you at this moment, and just hover it off the floor. So you still get a really good supine twist, but you're just using your muscles to hover that off the floor. Hold it. Deep breath in, and squeeze it up. Excellent job. Right. Obliques should be like, oh my God, is it my turn now? Fine. If you're like, yeah, that was pretty damn hard, actually, I don't really want to do any more than that, thank you very much, then do exactly the same thing. If not, we're coming to tabletop, and it does feel different. So if you're like, okay, come on, obliques, we can do this. Exactly the same thing. So come down to the side nice and slowly, try not to touch the floor. Please bear in mind this is quite a lot harder. Hold it off the floor. Oh my God. Deep breath in and lift. regretting that food right now. Oh. And through to the center and down. Sit nice and slowly, holding it there. Deep breath in and ouch. Oh, lift. Oh. That's it. Okay, bring it back up to center and bring your knees in. And then you can just give yourself a little tiny rock or a little mini rolls. That's it. Good. Right, obliques definitely would have woken up now. We're going to, we'll come back to this position, but I want to do a couple of moves the other way round. So if you take a leg, and then we're going to bring yourself up nice and slowly. Oh, please give yourself a second, because we have just been on the floor for a while. So we're going to roll over. I'm going to come this way, obviously, so I can see the screen. But we're going to come onto all fours. Okay. If you have got the block, just move the block out of the way temporarily. Okay. So the one I mentioned that I wanted to do for your hips whilst we're up in this position is the lovely pigeon. So if everyone's feeling brave, we'll go into a king pigeon. If not, just getting into a pigeon's bad enough. So you're on all fours. We're going to bring one knee forward and bring the opposite leg up, so into your toe, and then you're going to slide that foot out the way and slide down. That's it. Again, it should feel comfortable, but at the same time, you might feel really quite stiff, and it's probably likely to be stiff right there. So give yourself a second. If you don't want to come all the way down today and you're like, no, I'm not going to be able to get back up again, then you're staying here. If not, we're coming down. Now, just pointing something out just before we do come down, depending on how far out your leg is depending on your flexibility, particularly of your knee and your hip. The idea is this, I'm not going to be able to do it fully, it's out here. So if you see me and you're like, I think I can, that's okay. You are supposed to be fully out, is the most advanced one. My knee won't allow that. So if you do have a knee where it does complain, come right in. If you don't, then the further stretch is further round. Okay, I definitely will, my knee won't allow that. So we're coming down to fold yourself forwards. And if you want to stay here where you're coming right down, whichever position you're in, we're just going to do some little teeny tiny rocks. And that should feel like your hips getting a little massage right in that hip bone. Relax your shoulders. And try and think about sinking as much as you can. If you are rocking, if you want to just stop the rocking and just give yourself a second. Okay. Putting your hands to the side by your knees. You're going to bring yourself up when you're ready. Tuck your back toe under first, and then we're going to come into a plank position, so just swing that back. You're in a plank. Then we're going to swap. Remember to get your foot out of the way as however's furthest for you, whichever's best. Slide yourself back, and then you can hang here. Do you want to do your little tiny rocks, or we're coming down to hinge? So don't curve down, hinge down, because the movement comes from there. Bring yourself down, nice and slowly, plonk. And then we're going to continue those little rocks if you're happy to. And again, after about 15 seconds, your hip will start to give in and go, okay, all right, I'll relax. So try really hard to sort of sink everything down into the mat, and stop the rock if you want to and just relax into the mat. Good. And when you're ready, just very slowly bring yourself out of that. Hands either side, tucking your back toe under, And then you're going to bring yourself, instead of into a plank, just onto all fours. Okay, so we're into all fours. And final back loosener, which is really just standard and very, very helpful if you really do have a sore back. Please try to do this one at the end of the day because it's an absolute saver, I tell you. Oh my God. If you're just thinking, I don't really want to go to bed with a sore back, this will sort it out. So good old cat and cow stretch. So we come all the way up. And really try and think, right, I'm arching, I'm a bridge. Bring yourself through. Breathe out. Lift your head, sink your belly button as if it's going to touch the floor. Lift your tailbone. Relax those ab muscles at the front, which are going to be worked in a minute. Relax them whilst you can. Bring them through to center. All the way up. Through to center and relax. Release. Head up. Beautiful. Nice deep breath and then back to center. Lovely. Okay, sitting back on your heels if it's comfortable to do so. If it's not, just sit back on onto your bum cross-legged. Right. Little tiny bit of work that we're going to do on those hip flexors. They have been stretched out, but I want to actually do some work on them because they are probably relatively angry at the moment because they've been sat down all day. So let's get them to do some work and actually try to relax a little bit. So when you bring yourself forwards like this, it's your hip flexors that have to bring yourself back up. So we're actually going to use our own top half weight to bring yourself back up again. So first things first, just hand in front of you like this. This is going to stop nose banging. So hinge the points from here. Pivot point is right by those hip flexors. Hinge yourself down, and the last minute, you'll curl. So just curl right over your own knees and head down. So chest on thighs, hands on the floor, forehead on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Deep breath in. Lift your head and try and straighten your back as quickly as possible. And then you're lifting off. Now, this shouldn't feel too bad, but I want you to try and bring your glutes to stay on your heels for as long as they can, okay? They will lift off a little bit, but try and bring them back down as quickly as possible. So you think, not too bad. If it is too bad, come off, okay? If it's starting to cramp. If you're like, okay, we can do this, hands across. Okay, this is a little bit harder. Scott, can I make a suggestion? Guys, just fold forward. If you sit on that, it's a lot less worse. Give that a try. Now, my suggestion to Scott, just so you're aware, is if you do have your block and or book, if it's just starting to cramp too much, just sit on it. Now, book is a little bit less, they're quite solid, so it might dig into you a little bit more, but actually that puts a lot less pressure on your heels and your knees and your hip flexors, actually. So if you want to do that, if you have that as an option, please do. So let's try this again. So hands across, and you're going to bring it down, and the last minute you're going to move your arms out of the way. Nice and slowly, hands out, head down, deep breath in, up, hands back across. Right, at this point, just as your back straightening, get your hip flexors to do the work. Is that better? Yeah. Right, if you're like, that's no problem, Rebecca, what is going on here? Try here. So if you're like, no, that was really hard, just stay there. If you need, if you'd like some more pressure, then we're coming here. And as Scott's doing currently, because he's off camera, if this is aggravating, wriggle and come back down again, okay? Just reset yourself all the way down. Control, control, control. We are not trying to hit our nose. Hands down, head down. Relax your shoulders. Deep breath in, up, hands to your temples. It gets to that point where your back's straight, and now lift. it. This shouldn't be that easy, especially if your hip flexors are tight. All the way up with the back straight and bring your arms down. Give your shoulders a little roll. Lovely. Right, there's one worse than that, and if that's bad enough, please stay there. It's your arms up. So we should go into a full child's pose when we're down here. So arms up, hinge forwards, keep your back straight. Not so easy even coming down. Please try and control it. Tummy should end up on your thighs, chest on your thighs, head down. You're in a child's pose now. Hold it here for a second just because it's nice. And deep breath in and lift. Oh. Oh. All the way up, back nice and straight. Arms should be by your ears. Oh, and back down. Right, come onto all fours and we can do a little puppy wag. Get yourself out of that. Relax your toes, feet, everything should be feeling released. Absolutely excellent. Right. Okay. We're going to swing back round and we're going to come onto our bums, but we'll eventually come onto our backs because I want to do some core work. So bring yourself sort of slightly forward off your mat, and then we're going to have our knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Now, if you have got your block, we're going to use said block or book and put it in between your knees. Now, what this does, it creates a little bit of a point of trying to think about this point, a focus point. There you go. I'm not doing very well today. A focus point, but also it engages your inner thighs. So whatever we're doing, when you're coming back, you have to engage your inner thighs, or otherwise it will drop. So if the book is particularly heavy, I would choose a smaller book because these are very, very light. So hands in front of you, and then we're going to nice and slowly roll down. And as you're rolling down, you'll realize that you need to squeeze this a little bit more. So engage here, engage there. Squeeze, roll. Use your tummy as a brake. That's it. Good. Head back, arms over. Keep your knees where they are. Deep breath in. Your arch, you'll find an arch in your back. Deep breath out, push that arch away. Arms up. Just at the point you need to, you're going to lift your head. Squeeze the block. Squeeze the block, squeeze the block. Nice and slowly lift. This is a little tiny bit harder with the block, you should find. And we're coming all the way back straight. So just make sure your posture is nice and finished. And now we're going to roll back. So not a back straight now. We've gone from back straight to curved, very, very curved back. So tilt that pelvis, roll it super slowly down, squeeze that block or book. Use your tummy as a brake. Oh, roll it down all the way back. Really nice deep breath in. See that arch in your back, and then out breath, you're losing the arch. Hands back over your head. Lift, don't strain your neck. Hands towards the block and lift. Try really hard to lift up as slowly as you went down. It's much easier to go down slower. So try to come up just as slowly. That's really not easy. There's a trick there. Okay. Core should feel mildly engaged now, like it's actually had to do something. I want you to use your block, and we're going to straighten our legs. And just put the block in between your hands. And you're going to touch toes, so lean forwards and touch toes. It shouldn't be so horrific because you've just done that move. And then without dragging your heels too much, you're going to tilt and roll down. Tilt. And the block's coming back with you. Touching the block on the floor, so you're in a really nice pencil stretch here. Deep breath in. Deep breath out, lose the arch. Lift the block in your hands off. When it gets to the point you need to lift your head, lift, and bring that block, push it towards your toes, nice and slowly, and then you're touching the block on your toes again. Wonderful. Okay, bring yourself back up, seated, beautiful. Right, just leaving our blocks to the side. Oh, actually, won't be able to use them. So we're going to elevate one leg with the block. Okay. If this is a book and it's not going to work because the whole thing keeps falling over, what I'd like you to do is that. Your thigh is going to have to work a lot damn heavier. Put it right at the end so it's not aggravating your sciatic nerve at the back. If you do that and you're like, take it away. Okay, your sciatic nerve's getting angry. Just leave it. Put it right at the bottom if that is the case. So the other leg is going to be bent. Just bent, that's it. And now we're going to come down and that's going to fall. Bring yourself down and try really hard not to make that block fall. Keep it there, keep it there. Now what this is doing is ensuring that you're not sliding, you're tilting. If you didn't tilt, the whole lot would fall because you're dragging your foot too much. Tilt, tilt, tilt. Oh my God. Arms up and back. Deep breath in. Up. Lifting your head, squeeze your glutes slightly. And roll up. Lovely. If you did manage that without the block and you're just lifting your leg and keeping exactly still, excellent job. Right, let's swap legs. So it needs to be at the end. But what we're trying to do is not drag because then that will happen, it will fall. Okay, I'm trying to get you to tilt your pelvis. So this leg's slightly bent. And then we're going to roll it back. So keep it there, roll, tilt. Nice and slowly, that's it. Excellent. Oh, your quad's got to do some work here. Up and back. Deep breaths in. Bring it up. Breathe out, lift your head. And squeeze up nice and slowly. Nice and slowly, nice and slowly. To the top, beautiful. Right, when you're finished with that one, just take your foot off the block. Wonderful. Just let Scott finish. Beautiful. Very good. Right, okay, just give your legs a little shake out. With, we're just going to make sure that because you've been doing this a lot, I'm just going to stretch you out. Hands behind, and then we're just going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Don't throw your head back. Just out, and you're just going to create a little arch. That's it. Lovely. Right. Let me just do a quick time check. Beautiful. Now, I think I've noted that we haven't died yet. So if we do, we're just going to try. The second you see me possibly dying, we're going to do roll-ups, okay, and roll back out of this. I want to do one little tiny more bit of core, and then we will roll up out of this, okay? So we're going to bring ourselves back, not slowly, just bring yourself back. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a combination of obliques work. I really need you to concentrate on this bit because it's not actually that easy. So bring your hands together, and Russian twists are when you bring yourself to the side and the side. So I want you to start that motion of rocking. I would suggest bringing your legs a little bit longer if you have got them right up. Okay, so you've got that rocking motion then. You've got one shoulder off the floor, then the other. Right, now we're going to lift and try and carry on that movement. So lift your shoulders, lift, lift. Oh my God, that is hard. There we go. Right, put your knees and your feet together when you're at the top. We're carrying on that Russian twist movement. That's it. Now you're leaning backwards, and that's the proper Russian twist that you're used to. Now we're coming down. So tilt, keep going. Oh my God, keep going. That's it. Bring it down. And then you're rocking from side to side. One shoulder off, one shoulder off. Okay, engage your core, lift your head. We're coming back up. Squeeze to the side, to the side. Very good. Right, we get cut off. One more. And we're coming down. Sit down, down, nice and slowly. Use your core. Oh, your obliques having to do some work here. And you're on the floor. Rock, rock. And up. Lift your head, lift your head. Ah, all the way up. And finish when you've come to the top. Oh, well done. Very, very good. Excellent work. Okay, so just to finish off, we're going to finish sort of where we started. So put your cross your legs and just make sure that they don't overlap, and we're coming forwards. And what you should find is you're coming forwards a hell of a lot easier now. Good. Nice and slowly roll your way out of that. Okay, I'm just going to roll those shoulders when you're at the top. Nice deep rolls. We haven't done too much shoulder work today, but hopefully your hips should be feeling very, very stretched out. Your core should be feeling like it's done quite a lot of work, and your back should be feeling much more posturally correct now. One arm across, and just try and relax that shoulder down. Everyone does this on that one, just try and relax it down. Deep breath. And the other side, across, and bring your shoulder down, deep breath. Very good. Okay, unravel yourself from that. We're going to either bring yourself, if you're in this position, just bring yourself forwards if you can get onto all fours. If not, you're just bringing yourself round so you get onto all fours. I'm just going to bring back out of camera. Okie dokie. Right, tucking your toes under, we're going to come into a downward dog position. So I want you to come up into a cat stretch and then lift and flatten your back, straighten your legs and your head in between your arms. Feel your calves, really getting a stretch back of your legs, your back, shoulders, tailbone nice and high, up onto your toes, and release, up onto your toes, up, 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 nice and high, and push back. Okay, this time, walking your feet towards your hands. It's not quite so easy. Your hands are going to need to probably come onto your fingertips. To be able to do that, bend your knees if you need to. You're walking, we're going to stay down here. Sit, relax. Come to one side. Nice deep breath in. And semicircle around to the other side. Back to the center. Super slowly. Just take a note. Have you gone lower? Take a note. Feel like you stretch right out. We're going to roll it up. Stack, stack, stack. Sit head last. Arms up, deep breath in. And relax down. Lovely. I'd like to finish, if everyone's got a minute, because we did start a little bit late, with just a little bit of a, if want of a better word, posture check. What we've just done in the last hour is try to correct your posture, but I just want you to think, right, this is what I should feel like posturally correctly when I'm standing upright, okay? So I'm going to very slightly turn this way, to the side towards Scott. And we're going to start from the bottom, and I want you to sort of almost stack yourself correctly so we're finishing completely correctly. So toes, let's give them a little wriggle and then spread them out. I know everyone's got socks on pretty much, but just spread them out onto the floor. That's it. So your feet should be about hip width apart. And ladies, everyone thinks that you think your hips are further apart than they are. Hips are actually here, not there. So just make sure that you've aligned correctly and you're not out there, because that's not where your hips are. So we've got our feet spread nice and our toes spread nice and wide. Our feet hip width apart. Another way of checking that is 2 fists, put them in between. That should be roughly your own hip width. Roughly. Okay, so when your legs are locked out, and depending on how flexible or double jointed you are, they might be really quite locked out. So the best posture is actually just unlocked. It doesn't mean bent. It means literally if you just lock your legs and then unlock them, they still look completely straight. You've just taken the pressure off your knees. So unlock your legs and then bring your focus up to your hip area and your pelvic area. And I want you to think, right, okay, am I doing that? Am I doing this? So just try and tuck your pelvis under. So if you close your eyes and tuck your pelvis under, you would think, right, there's a solid 2 poles going all the way up my legs and they're attached here. So there's not any of that. It couldn't do that. It would have to be solid. Just very, very slightly squeeze your glutes, very slightly. So the whole bottom half should feel completely solid. So if I was there, lucky Scott, I'd push and you wouldn't go anywhere. So I'm going to test this on him in a second. So bottom half locked, nice and tight. Now bring your focus up to, I'd say your core. This is your core, not just here. So tighten your abs very slightly, engage them. So deep breath in and then think, as opposed to, okay, so just keep them engaged. And then bring your focus up to your shoulders. We're going to do one final shoulder roll backwards and then just settle them down. Now, it's not this, it's just settle them down. Your arms should feel nice and long and loose and long. Finally, your head, we're not looking at the floor, just look just in front of you, okay? So it shouldn't be here, shouldn't be there, just ahead of you, okay? So this position should be the strongest of your posture that you can do. It may feel very, very slightly uncomfortable, but this is your body compensating for the posture that it should be, okay? So legs feeling nice and strong, knees very slightly unlocked, pelvis tucked under, core mildly engaged, shoulders back and down, head neutral. Okay, that's where we should be. Now, I'm going to test this. Stay there. If you're in a good, strong position, it should be not that easy for someone to push you. So if you're like this, it's not that difficult, but I'm struggling to, not I'm pushing too hard, but I'm struggling to move Scott. So he's in a very strong, comfortable position there, which is exactly where it should be. So if you're feeling that, feel solid, feel solid. Right, just give yourself a big old shake all over. And we're going to finish, as we always do, with 3 little sweeps. So hip width apart, bringing it down, deep breath in. Squeeze your glutes slightly, look away from the screen and come up onto your toes. Oh, posture. Oh, balance is not good today. Right, and bringing it down. If you so feel like you want to close your eyes and challenge your balance even further, please do. I'm not going to. I need to watch you lot, that's my excuse. And then down one more time. And nice deep breath in this time. Squeeze and relax. Wonderful. And you know what I'm pleased about? It hasn't died, yay! So this is probably how I'm going to do this now. This is on hotspot, so I think this is working probably better. Right, 1 second.